Good evening once again. This time you can't see me. It's the second time's the charm. We tried this meeting before. You might see another recording of it. But unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties. So you weren't able to hear me on the previous recording. Now you won't be able to see me. But that's okay because what I actually want to do is show LIVRESQ instead of showing myself. So the good news is that we can still talk about images. And as I was saying, if you were here before, if you are joining us live, you can ask me questions at any time. The purpose of these webinars, which happen twice every month on Thursdays, is to show you LIVRESQ, to show you this wonderful tool that allows you to create digital courses, digital educational content. It doesn't have to be courses. It can also be any type of digital learning material, even ebooks. Or interactive ebooks, digital textbooks. So what I want to talk to you about today is images, and basically what you can do with images in LIVRESQ, the fact that you can add them separately or you can add them inside resources. And it won't be a very long meeting, but I want to make sure that to show you the multiple possibilities of adding images and what you can do with images in general. So I'm going to stop the screen share and share LIVRESQ. Again, if you are watching a recording of this, whether on Facebook or on YouTube, please don't hesitate to leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you are watching us live, whether you're live with us on Facebook or you're live with us on Zoom, you can turn on your microphone or you can write comments and I'll answer your questions straight here live. So how this works, as I mentioned at the beginning, LIVRESQ both allows you to create digital materials, but what I really don't maybe talk enough about during these webinars is the fact that LIVRESQ also allows you to host your lessons in our library. And in the library, you can host your materials privately, or you can make them public. If you want to look at what other creators have worked on, if you want to see other examples of things you can do in LIVRESQ, you can browse the library. There's a link here, or you can access the library straight from the link library.livresq.com. But generally what we showcase here is the author and how it works. And inside the author, we are going to create a blank project now, so a completely new from scratch project, so that I can show you multiple ways in which you can add images. In order to create a new project in LIVRESQ, all you have to do is click Create New in the home page, the page that your editor opens in, and then click Project. And because we want to start fresh, to start new from scratch, then the easiest way to do this is creating a new project that's empty. If you want the help of artificial intelligence in order to create your lesson, you can select Project AI. There are previous videos, previous editions of this webinar where we show you what you can do with artificial intelligence in terms of creating an entire project from scratch. And also, you can also start from one of our templates. But for the purpose of today's meeting, we're going to create a new project, empty, blank, new project. This is what it looks like. It opens straight from the sections part of it, the sections section, so to speak, of it. And in order to edit the content, to look at the content firsthand, then we will double click this section in order to see what's inside it. And I mentioned at the beginning, we are starting fresh. There's nothing in it, just a little bit of text that tells you what to do. If we want to add an element, we are going to drag it from the left. Now, you may have seen at the beginning, before I started creating this project, that in LIVRESQ, we have projects, sections, and resources. A project is your final material, the end product that contains one or more sections. If you look at the icons, how everything is represented, so the project is like a box which contains multiple files. a section can be a literal page in your project, or it can be a chapter, whatever, however you want to organize the project. And inside each section is where we add the content, where we add the resources. And one of the resources we can add, it's not an interactive one, we can add multiple interactive resources as well, is an image. So we can add an image as is, just by dragging it from the content side into our main space here. So what I've done here is to drag an image into the editing space. In order to edit something in LIVRESQ, we will double click it. It's how we've just accessed the section that we've just seen. So if I want to change this image, because right now there's a placeholder here, but if I want to change it to something of my choice, then I will double click this image, and I'm now editing image number 1 inside project number 1. So if I want to go back to my section, I can always use this path here. I will always know that I'm inside project number 1. I know it's a project because it's a box, and it's also automatically named project 1. I am in section number 1, and I can see the page icon, and I'm currently editing image number 1. If I want to go back to my section, then I will click the title of the section. I want to edit my image, I will double click the image. Just a second, I'm going to pull up the chat so that I can see if there are any questions. Again, I'm also following the chat on Facebook, so if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask me. Or if I'm moving too fast. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so in order to change this placeholder image, I have this big blue button here that says Change Image. And I have two options. I can either upload a file from my own computer, or I can search through 3 search engines that contain stock photos. And you may know that stock photos are copyright-free photos that you can use without having to worry about copyright and about paying for those photos. So when I clicked stock photos, I have access to this search engine. You can enter a search term here. You can select from one of the sources. If you're not satisfied maybe with the results of one source, you can select a different source. But just to give you an idea, for the word book that's automatically searched for in the platform, we have 14,044 results on the first search engine. So most likely you will be able to find something that you like. And again, you can use these photos without having to worry about copyright, without any sort of problem. In order to choose one of these photos, you just need to drag the mouse over the photo without clicking anything, and then this blue button on the top left corner appears, which you will click and select the resolution of the image according to what you need it to be, according to how you want or where you want to use the image. I'm just going to select use medium image. It takes a shorter time to load. And right now I've changed this picture to the one that I wanted. This is the simplest way to add an image. If I go back to my section, I can see now that I have a stock photo where I added the image before. If I want to further edit this image, I can double click it again. And if you want to add something, if you want to change its size, if you want to add text or different symbols to the image, you don't need to leave LIVRESQ. We have an image editor that is integrated. In order to use it, just right next to the change image button, we have an edit image button. And right now, I've opened in this pop-up, the pop-up that I've just opened is our image editor. The things you can do here are basic image editing functions, things like choosing a filter, choosing colors, tints, and so on. You can fill the image with nothing, which basically makes it transparent. I will undo that. You can crop the image, you can flip it, you can change its size, you can resize the image. You can rotate the image however you need to rotate it. Most importantly, though, you can draw on the image. So maybe you want to show your students something, or you want to use the image in any way. You can draw either 3 shapes or a straight line. You can select its color and its width, Right now I can add, well, it's not really straight, but it's straight from the one point to another. So I've added 2 lines to my image. We can also add predefined shapes, a rectangular circle or a triangle, which can be filled or empty. We can also add text, which is again very, very important because we are really able to use these stock images to our advantage. Maybe add some text to it and add information straight to the image. And we can also add stickers. Now, stickers can either be one of the 2 emojis we have here or some preset shapes, or we can again either upload a file or look through stock photos for maybe an image with a transparent background that we can add here. So really, the sky is the limit. These are some very powerful edits. It's not really, there isn't really much to do with basic image editing that this image editor can't do. So you 100% can edit your images inside LIVRESQ. Once you've done all the edits you need, and let's just, for the purpose of today's meeting, add some text, but maybe change the color because I don't think this is I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. We'll just add the text hello. I've added some text. I can maybe draw something, just like a line. Again, I'll use black as well. Just drawing something. And once I save the image, then the new image is added to my project. Now, if I want to go back, if I want it empty again, I can use the undo button or the combination of keys, Control and Z. If I want to edit it again, I won't be able to change any of these edits because when I click save, then that's a new version of the image. So I can start from scratch, but I cannot undo the edits one by one once I've clicked save. If you want to download the image from LIVRESQ, you can also click this button here, which allows you to download the source file and maybe use it somewhere else, or maybe use it in other places as well, in other places within LIVRESQ, I meant. So now if we go back to the section, we have this image with all the edits that I've done. And this, again, is the most basic form to add an image. But almost all other resources in LIVRESQ use images in one way or another, whether it's, for example, adding images to a quiz, and we have an hour-long presentation on quizzes that you can view. I'll only go through these elements very quickly today. If you need further explanation or if you need more information regarding one of these resources, please leave us a comment and we can refer you to the video, or you can come back and we will get back to you regarding that particular feature. So how this works is the other most basic way, or the other very intuitive way in which we can add images, is to add them to a gallery, which means that if I wanted to add a gallery, again, I can add it as a resource inside my project. So I take it from the left-hand side and I add it inside my project. Again, in order to edit my resource, all I have to do is double click it. If I click a resource once, then I've selected it. If I want to edit it, so to go into the edit mode, I will double click it. You may notice that in the case of a gallery, the platform has added this bar here. This bar signifies that this is an interactive resource. I can give it a title. I can also add further information so that I can tell my student, or I can tell whoever's going through the course what they need to do. This was created again to signify that this is an interactive resource. So if I select my resource and if I want to change the title here, then I can do it straight from the properties. Because how we work in LIVRESQ, we have a few components inside a section. On the left-hand side, we can find elements of structure or content that we can add to the lesson that we can add to our main space here by using drag and drop. Up here, we have a bar with general settings that allow us to change things for the entire section, or to move elements around, or maybe to preview our work. And on the right-hand side, we have properties as well as some other general functions. So in terms of what I select, the element that I select, the properties differ for each of the elements. So if I want to change the title here, I can select my gallery, go on the right-hand side and write a title for my gallery up here. This is also where I can hide my resource status bar, which is this one here. So I can choose show, hide, or inherit. Inherit means that I'm looking at the properties for the entire project, and I'm basically following those properties. Let's say we hide it. So right now we have a gallery and the resource bar is hidden. Now, if I really want to edit the content, then all I have to do is double click. And now I am editing the gallery itself. And we can see here that I have multiple images, not just one. It kind of looks the same as the image editor, but this time I have multiple images. 1, 2, 3. So I can change each of these images. I can delete one or two, but you need to have at least two in order to have a gallery. The platform, I think, allows you to have only one, but it doesn't really make much sense. So you need to have at least two, and you can have as many as you want by adding more. So if I don't need the third one, I'll click remove element. If I wanted to add a new element, I have a blue button down here that says add new element, and I'm able to add another one. Again, as many as I want by just clicking add element, and we can delete them by using this bin icon up here. So in order to change an image, I'm going to click on change image just as we did before. Go to stock photo again. Maybe choose a different picture of a book. We recommend that you use, however, pictures of the same size so that the gallery looks okay. If we choose different size of pictures, there might be the case where you have some empty space on the top and on the bottom, because what the gallery does is compensate for the space. So in case you have a bigger image, it will take the size of that bigger image, and the smaller image will appear to have some empty space around it. And I'll show you what I mean. So if, let's just say I'll choose this picture again, and I know it's 640 by 425. And then let's select a bigger picture, and maybe a picture that has a completely different ratio, like this one. It looks longer, so it's 360 in width. So right now, if we go back to the section, if we preview everything that we've done so far, you'll notice that it's not quite right. They're different sizes. It looks a little bit off. You can tell that the images are different sizes. If we select an image that is the same size, and this was 640 by 425, 426, it's almost the same, although we could also go into the edit mode and change the size. Now, if we go back, you can tell the difference. It occupies the same space on your screen. So as much as possible, use images that have the same size so that we don't lose any of the space. Because maybe I have two cells here. I've just duplicated one of my cells. I will delete the gallery and move the image there. And now if I preview, you'll see that there's no empty space around my gallery. Of course, maybe it's the same picture, but it's the idea is for you to understand sort of how it works. So these are two ways in which to add images very straightforward into your lesson. Either add them in a gallery if you have multiple images that you want people to look at, or adding the images one by one using the resource image. But another great thing about LIVRESQ is that you can also add images inside the text resource and really inside all other resources. I wanted to say almost, but kind of almost, but all other interactive resources can benefit from images as well. So what I did in the row that is now empty because I moved things around, I added a text box. And in order to add a text box, we take it from the left and we move it inside our working space. Again, to edit this, we will double click. Now, the difference between this and the gallery and the image that we've just edited is that we're not taken to a different screen. In order to edit text, we're still here inside our section. So now basically we can write text, we can copy paste it from other sources, we can just add text to our lesson. But this text editor also allows you to add formulas if you're teaching sciences or STEM, tables, links, and images. So I clicked the image icon here. By the way, if you click the image icon now once, you'll see that LIVRESQ already adds a placeholder for an image, so this little square here. So I'll just click it once, and I have a button to add image, which again gives me the same two options, upload file and stock photo. Uploading a file refers to uploading a file from our computer, and stock photo refers again to searching. Maybe let's try searching for a different term now. Let's search for the term tree. So I can add a tree to my lesson this time, but inside a text resource. I'll use the medium image because although I no longer have the image editor that I had in the image and the gallery resource, I do have some advanced configurations here. So if I wanted to change the size, I can do it and keep the aspect ratio. I can add border, I can add I can change how it's aligned, so I can still do some image editing. However, if you really want to edit the image, it's better if you add it as a separate resource, the way we've first done it. This is basically to add an image inside the text, maybe have the text go around the image. We'll just make it a little bit smaller, let's say around, really a lot smaller actually, let's say around 200 pixels. So now inside my text box, I have an image and I can add text as I please, or add multiple images. If you know CSS or if you know HTML, the text box also allows you to access its source and add more options in code for your image. So we've already seen 3 ways. Now, the main advantage is that this text menu appears on almost all resources. And if this menu appears on almost all resources, it means essentially that we can add images to almost all other resources. I'll very quickly show you a few examples. I'll keep dragging rows with 2 cells so that we can make them sort of symmetrical. Let's say that I want to add an accordion. And you've seen how these work, or if you haven't, you can go back to the recordings and watch exactly how these work. If I want to add an accordion, essentially is this resource that allows you to hide information, which means that the person going through the course, so your student would need to click on the title or on the plus sign and then reveal some information. If we go into view mode up here, you'll see that after we click each title, you're able to see content that is hidden. If we double click the accordion in order to go into edit mode, you'll see that everywhere we have text. And whenever we want to edit it, we have the same menu. This essentially means that we can add images to to any of these text boxes. Again, we have the possibility to remove one of the items in the accordion or add another one using the blue button. If I want to add an image for the title, I can use the button Add Image, stock photo again. We'll keep it with trees, but maybe change the source. Just select a random photo of a tree, but using it really small. And then under content, again, I can add another image. From stock photos, I'm choosing things very randomly just to show you the main way in which they work. It's kind of stretched, so I'm going to delete this next cell so that we can see it properly. Because if I go into view mode again, so I have the gallery that I've added, and now I have this accordion where I changed one of the titles to an image, and if I click it once, then I reveal the second image that I've added. So the great news is that this text editor, the same options, are present for absolutely almost all, again, of the resources you can add to LIVRESQ. This was just an example. If you want to add images inside quizzes, so I'm just going to add a quiz to one of my rows. I'll double click the quiz, and wherever there's input for text, you can input images. I won't show you this, but it works in the same way. So I click it once, I can edit, I have the image editing possibility, I have the text editor, and then I can add an image here. I can add images for all the options, regardless of the type of quiz. For some, of course, it works in terms of logics and how the quiz works, and for others, it may not work, but you do have this possibility. And I've seen some lovely quizzes, for example, for drag and drop, where teachers were asking students to drag and drop images instead of words to different positions and different places. There's really a lot you can do with this. Tabs works in the same way, and basically a lot of other resources that add images. Another important detail, however, that I did not mention is what type of images you can add, because we kept working with stock photos. So it's not just JPEG images, it's not just PNG, but it's also GIFs or GIFs, however you want to say it. So if you want to add moving images, not videos, you can also add GIFs. Now we don't have an image search for GIF yet, but you are able to add one from your computer. So this is one that I previously saved before. We'll just let it upload very quickly. And now, basically, we have a GIF that was integrated inside the lesson. Here we go. And again, on all resources where you can add images, you can also add GIFs. So this is how it works. You can really harness the power of images however you want to use them. In almost all resources, and I say almost all resources because sometimes it doesn't make sense. For instance, for videos, although you can still use image for videos, and I'll show you how in a minute. If I add a video to another row, then I can add a poster to it. Once I clicked add a poster, then this placeholder appeared. But you can change this again to an image that is to a thumbnail, basically, a thumbnail image that makes sense to you. And for audio as well, you can have a poster for the audio, so it can be a GIF or not, but it's important that you can add some sort of visual clue for an audio file as well. If there are any questions, please leave them down below or in the chat. There are no questions. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was useful for you. I really enjoyed being able to hold this webinar again, and we will meet again in 2 weeks' time on Thursday at 6 p.m. Central European time, sorry. And you will be notified about this meeting, both if you follow us on Facebook and if you subscribe to our newsletter, which you automatically get if you have a LIVRESQ account. So thank you so much once again. Have a great evening or day, according to where you are, and I will see you in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much.